Hi, good day to all the gorgeous hearts out there. This is Asa from Creative Fairy Designs, and thank you very much for joining me today. For today's episode, we are going to be making lovely, authentic, vintage paper. Really simple, really quick, and really easy. And we are making this so we can put this in the envelopes that we made in our last episode. And these are the ones that we've made. I'll quickly show you and then we'll get started. This is our coffee dye paper. I'm going to show you a quick, easy way to coffee dye paper. We've inked the edges, we've written a quote, and we've added an image, vintage matching an image in each one of these stationery paper. I made 6 because there's 6 envelopes for it to go in. So stay with me and let's get started. And now we are going to coffee dye our paper. We're just going to use regular A4 paper. This is my easy, lazy way of coffee dyeing. And I have here coffee mixture. Just mix instant coffee with water and a makeup sponge. A makeup sponge works well. Dip into the coffee, squeeze it out, and just pass it directly on the page. And of course, it does not have to be even or smooth because it is coffee dyed paper. And you can put circle, you can make any pattern or design that you want. Do the same for the other side of the paper. Remember, it's important to squeeze out the sponge because we don't want this to be really wet or tear our paper. And there we have. Ensure all the white areas are covered, and we have 2 sides. We're going to leave it to dry. The coffee dyed paper, after it's finished drying, I have ironed mine just to flatten it out because I like my pages to lie flat in my journal. You can leave it as it is. It's just a personal preference. So we're just going to make this into 6 letter pages, and you want to use the coffee dyed method or the tea dye method because it allows you to write really nicely on your pages. Now I'm just going to tear it and do a finger tear. So finger tear works best because it gives that organic feel, as I've said so many times before in all my videos. Smells really awesome. Doesn't smell like coffee at all. So for those of you who are doing junk journaling for the first time and you think that it's going to have a coffee smell, no, it's not. If you have the ruler with the jagged edge, feel free to go ahead and do it. But like I said, finger tearing works just as well, just as nice. You know, when you're crafting, whether it's for personal or commercial use, crafting supplies can cost you a whole lot. So whatever you can do without purchasing, you do so. Whatever you can make on your own, you do so. Especially if it's for commercial use, so you don't run into a lot of cost. So now that we have finger teared, now we're going to distress the edges. And now to distress your edges, for those of you who have the dark brown distress ink, can go ahead and do so. This is just another option, which is using a wedge sponge. And this is brown, dark brown acrylic paint. And just distressing the edges. This is just a cheaper alternative. I've seen people burn the edges. I'm scared I'll burn down the house, so I will choose the distress ink. So go ahead and continue distressing all of your papers, finger tearing and distressing all of your papers. And this is how a coffee dyed paper would look like after we have inked the edges. And coffee dyed paper is really easy to write on. So we will leave this space for the person to do all of their writing and journaling. And you can just add a little coat to it just to make it motivational, to encourage them, because you are designing this journal, or this journal can be, of course, used for yourself. Like I use these journals for myself or give it as gifts. And you see how nice it writes with the coffee dyed paper and how nice and vintage it looks. So these are the vintage designs that I'm going to be using to add to our vintage letter. And this is what I used. It's a natural label printable craft full sheet shipping label. And it comes with an adhesive to the back. So you could just use it as a sticker. Of course, you can just print and fussy cut or use whatever you have, scraps at hand, stickers, etc. And now to complete our stationery, we're just going to stick stickers wherever we feel necessary, wherever we think will do well. And this is why I printed these designs on this type of sticker, so it matches really nicely and really well with our vintage writing paper, and it looks nice. And here we have a vintage lady and the beautiful butterfly. Of course, when we talk about vintage, we cannot be vintage without a typewriter. And here we have some botanical, just some simple line art, botanical florals. And of course, you can just place one design if you wish. I just wanted to put 3 designs on mine. We have a really, really nice long flower there. I'm just going to add one more just to make it look pretty. And I do hope that you are enjoying this video so far. Of course, there are many ways of coffee dyeing paper and using paper. This is just an easier way, a quicker way, and it looks really nice in your journal. You don't wish to print the designs or any design on this craft paper, you can simply use tissue paper, or you can use, which I showed you, or you can use coffee dyed paper, the same coffee dyed paper. And now that we have our vintage stationery, we would fold it and place it into the envelopes that we made last time, the lovely envelopes that we made last time. And then this will go in our journal. This is all the lovely stationery that we have made. I hope you have enjoyed today's episode.